What if I told you there's an ancient god, shrouded in mystery, whose influence stretches from ancient Mesopotamia to modern-day occult practices, and barely anyone talks about him? In this video, we'll uncover the forgotten cult of Dagon, a deity worshipped by civilizations long gone, and explore how his symbolism evolved into something far more sinister. From his ancient roots as a god of fertility to his resurgence in Lovecraftian mythos and occult circles, Dagon's story is unlike any other. Stick around to the end to discover the surprising modern-day connections and hidden meanings behind Dagon's resurgence in the occult world. Toward the end of the Bronze Age, a period marked by the rise of great civilizations in the Mediterranean Levant, various Semitic peoples, such as the Amorites and Canaanites, shared similar religious and mythological traditions. Within their complex pantheons, one figure stood out among all others: Dagon, a god whose worship is far older than most people realize. The cult of Dagon was not only part of these people's beliefs, but it also spread across vast regions and civilizations that venerated him in different ways over the centuries. The oldest records indicate that Dagon, whose original name was Dagon, was a god of fertility, grain, and agriculture. His name, in fact, comes from the Semitic word Dagon, which means grain. In the earliest versions of his myth, it was said that he had taught humans how to cultivate wheat, use the plow, and generally master the agricultural techniques that sustained these civilizations. But his influence went far beyond that. Dagon was not just an agricultural god, but also a creator god, to whom power over both the heavens and the earth was attributed. The earliest historical records mention him in ancient Mesopotamia, where he was considered the father of the gods, holding a prominent place alongside figures like Anu, the supreme god of the Sumerians and Akkadians. In fact, Dagon was seen as a figure equivalent to Anu in the Levant region, which demonstrates the extent of his worship and his importance. But how does this agricultural deity transform into a god of the deep sea? As the cult of Dagon expanded and evolved, so did his image. At some point, the name Dagon began to be associated with the Semitic word dag, which means fish. It was then that Dagon started being depicted as a creature half man, half fish, reflecting not only his connection to fertility and agriculture, but also to the sea and its mysteries. This shift in his iconography is key to understanding the transformation of Dagon throughout history, as he not only transitioned from an agricultural god to a maritime deity, but also became a symbol of the duality between the conscious and the unconscious worlds, between the visible and the hidden. The cult of Dagon was not exclusive to a single civilization. Among the Semites, his worship spread from Mesopotamia to the coasts of the eastern Mediterranean, where several important cities built temples in his honor. In Byblos, Tyre, Sidon, Ashdod, Gaza, Ugarit, Mari, and Ebla, large temples were erected for Dagon, reflecting his significance in both the Canaanite and Phoenician worlds. However, it was among the Philistines that his cult reached its peak. The Philistines, descendants of the enigmatic sea peoples, adopted Dagon as one of their principal deities. These mysterious warriors and pirates, who attacked Mediterranean coasts during the collapse of the Bronze Age, were not originally from the region, but embraced the local religion, including the worship of Dagon. In the Bible, the god Dagon is mentioned several times in connection with the Philistines, being described as the god to whom they offered sacrifices and turned to in times of war. One of the most well-known episodes is the story of Samson, where it is mentioned how the Philistine princes organized a sacrifice in the temple of Dagon, to celebrate his capture. This story culminates in a dramatic twist when Samson, in his final act of strength, topples the temple's pillars, killing thousands of Philistines and destroying Dagon's temple. This event not only underscores the importance of Dagon among the Philistines, but also suggests that his cult was deeply intertwined with ritual sacrifice practices. Another significant episode is the decapitation of King Saul, where the Philistines hang his head in Dagon's temple as an offering. This symbolic act reflects the kind of brutal devotion often associated with Dagon in biblical narratives. Additionally, in the Book of Samuel, it is recounted how the Philistines captured the Ark of the Covenant and brought it to Dagon's temple in Ashdod, placing it next to the god's image as a sign of triumph. According to the story, Dagon's statue repeatedly fell before the Ark, which was interpreted as a sign of the Hebrew god's power over Dagon. These biblical accounts provide a glimpse into how the Philistines viewed Dagon not only as a god of fertility and agriculture, but also as a central figure in their pantheon, to whom they offered sacrifices in times of war and whom they regarded as the protector of their lands and people. Despite his prominence in antiquity, the cult of Dagon, like many other ancient religions, faded over time. Romanization, Hellenization, and ultimately the spread of Christianity and Islam nearly erased the worship of Dagon from history. However, like many ancient deities, Dagon did not vanish completely. His revival in popular culture came through the works of American writer H.P. Lovecraft, known for his tales of cosmic horror. In his stories, Dagon was reimagined as a marine deity, an ancient figure dwelling in the depths of the ocean. Lovecraft's portrayal of Dagon is intriguing because it reflects the duality between the conscious and unconscious worlds. The ocean depths, in this context, represent the hidden, the unknowable beyond human understanding. In many ways, Lovecraft captured the original spirit of the Dagon cult by transforming him into a figure that inhabits both the human mind and the vast, unexplored sea. This resurgence of Dagon in modern literature is not only a testament to the enduring power of ancient myths, but also a reflection of how humans have always projected their deepest fears onto mythological figures representing forces beyond our control. If Lovecraft was responsible for reviving Dagon in literature, Kenneth Grant was the one who introduced him into the world of modern occultism. Grant, one of Aleister Crowley's disciples, was an influential magician and esoteric writer who incorporated many of Lovecraft's ideas into his own occult theories. Specifically, Grant saw the gods of the Cthulhu mythos, including Dagon, as archetypal representations of cosmic forces that could be harnessed in ritual magic. In his series of books known as the Typhonian Trilogy, Grant presented Kabbalistic connections between Dagon and other dark deities, such as Baphomet, as well as the Sephirot of the Tree of Life. For Grant, Dagon was not just a literary figure, but a manifestation of cosmic forces, representing the darker aspects of the unconscious. In chaos magic, which allows practitioners to adapt symbols from various sources to create their own belief systems, Dagon fit perfectly as a symbol of the hidden depths of the mind and the universe. In the 1980s, Kenneth Grant's revolutionary approach culminated in the creation of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, an occult group inspired by his fusion of magic theories and Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos. This order adopted the teachings of chaos magic, an esoteric approach that promotes flexibility and adaptability in belief systems, allowing practitioners to personalize their rituals and symbols based on their individual goals. Unlike the more rigid and structured traditions of ceremonial magic, chaos magic focuses on functionality over orthodoxy, prioritizing personal effectiveness in manipulating reality through will and imagination. Within this order, Dagon was much more than an ancient god rescued from history or fiction. He was seen as an archetype of primordial forces lying dormant in the universe, waiting to be awakened by those daring enough to explore the deepest recesses of their psyche. For members of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, this god embodied the duality between creation and destruction, between order and chaos, representing the underlying forces that structure not only the visible world, but also the hidden dimensions of the human mind. In this sense, Dagon was a powerful symbolic tool that allowed practitioners to delve into the collective unconscious, a concept Carl Jung defined as the accumulation of ancestral experiences and memories shared by humanity. The ocean, a recurring image in both Dagon's and Lovecraft's myths, became a key metaphorical symbol. It represented the unconscious in its purest form, vast, unfathomable, dark, and full of mysteries waiting to be discovered. The depths of the sea reflected the depths of the human mind, where archetypal forces like Dagon resided in a latent state. In the esoteric practice of the order, the ocean was not merely an image of the physical world, but a metaphor for the vast potential of the unconscious, where the boundaries of logic and rationality dissolve, allowing creative and chaotic forces to emerge. This use of Dagon also mirrored the Jungian approach to archetypes, where gods and myths are interpreted as expressions of the internal forces that structure the human psyche. Just as Jung used myths to explain psychological processes, the Esoteric Order of Dagon used this mythological figure to channel and explore deep psychic energies, forging a symbolic connection between the primordial chaos of the ocean and the structural disorder of the human unconscious. The intent was not to worship Dagon in a conventional religious sense, but rather to use him as a catalyst to awaken these latent forces and harness them in magical rituals. Dagon, as an archetype, offered a malleable structure within the framework of chaos magic. For the Order's practitioners, this god of the depths symbolized the fusion of the creative and the destructive, acting as a mediator between the material and spiritual planes. Through their rituals, initiates sought not only to connect with these hidden cosmic forces, but also to alter their perception of reality, and by extension, influence the world around them. This is the core of chaos magic, the belief that reality itself is fluid and malleable, and that symbols like Dagon can be used to reconfigure that reality through the practitioner's will. In the Esoteric Order of Dagon, the god was not merely a figure to be worshipped, but a representation of the archetypal powers that govern both the cosmos and the human mind. Dagon embodied the mysteries of what lies hidden, both in the depths of the sea and in the unconscious, offering members of the Order a pathway to explore and manipulate these forces in their quest for personal and spiritual transformation. This approach not only reflected a profound understanding of the occult forces in the universe, but also an intimate connection with the internal processes of the psyche. Dagon, like other archetypal figures, allowed practitioners to confront their deepest fears, repressed desires, and hidden shadows, while providing a framework to integrate these forces into a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them. What makes the case of Dagon so fascinating is how he has managed to survive through the centuries. From his origins as a fertility god in the ancient Levant, to his transformation into a marine deity in Lovecraft's works and his adoption by modern occultists, Dagon has proven to be a powerful and enduring symbol, Today, although sacrifices are no longer made to him in temples, Dagon remains a figure that inspires respect and fear in those who explore the mysteries of the unconscious and the hidden forces of the universe. His resurgence in modern occultism is nothing but a testament to the power that ancient myths hold over the human mind. Dagon, like many other forgotten deities, remains relevant because he represents something that goes beyond his time. The duality between the visible and the invisible, between the conscious and the unconscious, between order and chaos. Thus, the ancient Mesopotamian god has managed to transcend time and space, remaining a key figure in the collective imagination. Ancient myths never fully disappear. They simply change shape, adapting to the times while maintaining their essence. And Dagon, in his mysterious depth, still waits in the shadows, ready to be rediscovered by those who dare to look beyond the surface. From ancient times in Mesopotamia to his unexpected revival in the 20th century, the figure of Dagon has traveled a fascinating path filled with transformations. Beyond being just an ancient god, his symbolism has transcended cultures, times, and borders, adapting and evolving to remain relevant in our exploration of the deepest mysteries of the human mind and the universe. What makes Dagon so special is not just his longevity, but what he represents: the union between the known and the unknown, between the conscious and the unconscious. He invites us to look beyond the surface, to dive into the depths of our own being, and to confront the hidden forces we all carry within. This power of transformation and discovery is what has kept his cult alive, both in ancient civilizations and in modern occultist currents. If you enjoyed this journey through the mysteries of Dagon, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating content on mythology, occultism, and the enigmas of the universe. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time